Hi, this is Steve. I just want to do a quick video today on a session I did with a client on working through some blocks to abundance. Certainly, with today's economy, that's an important issue on how to get more money into your life. If you're watching this from YouTube, what I do suggest is to click on the link in the description and go to the blog post itself. I'll have a lot of links in there, and actually all this will be written out too. It'll be a little more helpful for you. This video will be especially helpful for people who are already familiar with how to muscle test, especially those people familiar with the emotion code. This will also kind of details a typical session I have with a client, so if you're thinking about hiring me as a coach, I'll give you a good idea of the type of things we can do. One of my long-term clients this week asked me to work on some blocks to abundance they were having. They realized was that they're professional, they get paid very good money, but they were noticing that they weren't billing their clients for everything that they could be charging them for. And they said, hey, let's work on this, okay? So the first thing we really need to do is get an accurate description of really what is going on. They described it as, don't really feel worth what I'm billing for, okay? The way I do that is to take, again, go to the blog post itself. It'll have links to these two documents. Oops. There we go. I use these two documents. One is the Chart of Emotions from Dr. Brad Nelson's book, The Emotion Code, and the other is the Map of Consciousness from Dr. David Hawkins' book, Power versus Force. So what we do is we say, okay, as the client, what I feel in terms of not being worth what I'm billing for is accurately described on the Map of Consciousness, yes or no? Is accurately described on the Chart of Emotions, yes or no? Well, it happened to be a phrase on the Chart of Emotions called low self-esteem. So once you get an idea of, okay, this issue is accurately described as low self-esteem, what do we need to replace it with? When we did that, we came up with a description on the Map of Consciousness called empowerment. And it appeared, doing more testing, it appeared that it would be helpful to replace it with, I am worth getting paid, okay? Another question is, how do you accurately find out what are the underlying emotional issues that are disconnecting them getting paid what they're worth? For this type of situation, what I use is something I like to call the quick release technique. Physiology in your body is inextricably linked to emotions, okay? So what we do is I ask the client to make the statement, I am worth getting paid, and to take a deep breath in, and then back out, okay? And when they feel a restriction in the breathing in or breathing out, it is always linked to an emotional issue in that area. Here's a good example. Think about any time that you were panicked or shocked or anything like that. What happens if you're about to get in a car accident and you go, and you never breathe back out, right? So breathing in is connecting to that. Breathing out is letting go of things that are preventing you from connecting to that. So in this client's issue, the breathing in, no problem breathing in, but when they're breathing out, they had 3 different issues which came up. And these 3 different issues happen to be related to the emotion code. If you're not familiar with the emotion code, this is really not the place to go into depth explaining it. I will say the emotion code is linked to blown emotional fuses. You go through life and things happen, you blow a fuse. If you can very, very accurately identify what the issue is, you can reset it like that. It's incredibly helpful, amazing what this tool does. Buy the book if you don't have it and study it. We don't have time to talk about it now. But these 3 issues were all related to an internship the client had had. And during this internship, they had a boss named Dale, who was a tyrant. The guy would show up at work at like 6 a.m., expected this of everyone, was just a tyrant in how he dealt with everyone. And it was a trapped emotion of shame, a trapped emotion of shock, and a hidden heart wall of panic. Now notice that the shock and panic, when you get shocked, what do you do? Or when you panic, what do you do? But you never let it go. And so when we release these three different issues, every time we released one of them, that we would retest, try making that statement, I'm worth getting paid, and breathing in and breathing out. And subsequently on identifying and releasing each of these issues, they noticed that they could breathe easier and easier until there appeared to be no more issue. Now I always like to be very thorough, so at that point it appeared we had dealt with everything, but I always like to double check, and I double check using what I call these different testing phrases. There are a series of phrases, and I have them all written out in the blog. I'm ready, willing, and able to get paid what I'm worth. I can honor getting paid what I'm worth. Various things like that. When we did that, the only one that came back as a negative was no. It is safe for me to get paid what I'm worth. And that was a no, it is not safe for me to get paid what I'm worth. So the question is, that's a underlying subconscious issue that obviously needs to be dealt with. So we use the same quick release technique to deal with this issue. The breathing out didn't seem to be an issue, but the breathing in, what we're trying to connect to is, it is safe for me to get paid what I'm worth. So upon trying to breathe in after making that statement, there was a restriction. And there were two things that were restricting. The first one was an inherited trapped emotion of humiliation. So in other words, kind of this is a predisposition towards humiliation, which is very often very connected to safety. The second issue that came up with was what I call spiritual roots. Spiritual roots are judgments, offenses, unforgivenesses, and vows. And this happened to be a judgment at age 11. And the judgment was, people are antagonistic. In other words, it causes you to draw back because you assume that people are out to get you and aggressive. And we talked a bit about this with the client on that the more confident you are, the less likely people are to attack you. They're like, okay, if you're confident, people figure, okay, you know what you're doing. And interestingly enough, I gave the client several examples I knew of where people found that the more they charge for their services, the more confident their clients happen to get and the busier they got. Because I figured, okay, if you're charging me and you're confident about it and you're charging me a lot of money, then you must know what you're doing. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a deal. I'm looking for the situation to be resolved thoroughly. So she agreed with that. And so she simply made a new judgment and replaced it with, people are relaxed when I confidently charge what I'm worth. So that's kind of a very brief overview of what I did. Hopefully, if you're a coach and you have clients, this will help you help your own clients more thoroughly. If you're looking to get coaching, this is just one example of the type of work I do with my clients. If you have any questions on this, feel free to post them in the comments section, either on YouTube or on my blog, and I will try and answer the questions for you. Anyways, this is Steve. Hope this was helpful for you. Bye-bye.